Hi, I'm Smeargle, bringing you weeks 4 and 5 of XPDLA. Let's get right into it. So my week, in case you missed it, my weeks 1 and 2, I went 1 and 1 off of a week 1 close game, but I ended up losing that one. Week 2 was a really solid win, and then week 3, just a really shitty game that I ended up losing. This is not fun. So yeah, and then so let's get into 4 and 5. Week 4 going up against BL Pawn and the Detroit Tyrantrums. His team consists of Excadrill, Rillaboom, Slowking, Hatterene, almost had a fucking stroke there, Rotom, Frost, Lantern, Charizard X, Mandibuzz, Nihilego, Hawlucha, and Dusclops. So he's got a pretty threatening group of friends going on over there. Charizard, Hawlucha, and Rillaboom, all really good physical breakers. Enhanced further by the Drill, which doesn't have to really have an offensive role on this team, considering that he's already got really good physical offense and some special offense sitting there too, in Hatterene and Nihilego. So Walcore is also pretty annoying. Just Slowking and Mandibuzz on their own coming to this game, pretty annoying for me to deal with. They're both just kind of irritating. Just give me one moment here. Alright, sorry about that. Mumford needed to be let out, so yeah. Like I was saying, Slowking and Mandibuzz plus as well as Dusclops, just kind of really not fun to fight, because my offensive building, if I wanted to build my team super offensively, I would have to account for everything, and I just couldn't think of an offensive Mew set or a decent offensive Mawile, a super offensive Mawile. I think this one's more bulky this week, right? Relatively. So yeah, I just decided to go with a more balanced approach this week, because it seemed like he's got the balanced draft overall, and I have the ability to do either. Just offensive, I could go full bulk, or I could go balance. So I decided to go with a balance build. As you can see, starting off with the Mew. I also have a bunch of status spam, because chipping down his Walcore is going to be really essential for this game, for a few of my offensive presences to win. So starting off with the first mon here, we got the Mew. It's physically defensive because it's just kind of helps really well against the Excadrill plus the Charizard and the Hawlucha. The main thing this thing's here to check is the Hawlucha. I think that's what it does the best against, but it can also deal with Excadrill because I have ground coverage for it. Scorching Sands, Toxic, Psychic, Roost. Toxic is there because I want to, do actual damage to Mandibuzz, because it's immune to both of my moves of choice. I was thinking between Wisp and Scorching Sands. I had T-Bolt on there at one point, or I had Discharge on there too as well, over Psychic. I decided in the end that Psychic Scorching Sands was my best just option. I also had Shadow Ball on there too for the Hatterene as well. But, and I think Flash Cannon was there at one point, if I'm remembering right. But in the end, I decided this was the best course of action. I also had Ice Beam. There were just quite a few sets. This also reliably hits the Nihilego harder. I think Scorching Sands does more damage than Psychic. Yeah, the math checks out on that. I think it's stronger by 235 to 280. Right? Yeah, I think that's right. So yeah, Scorching Sands does more damage reliably to Nihilego too. Like I said, the only problem is the Mandibuzz, but if I can lure that in and I haven't used Toxic yet, I can poison it. So if Foul Play bounces off because I'm Phys-Def and I have no attack. So up next we have the Mawile. This just kind of fucks him. This mon just in general just kind of destroys his team. I think this is the sole reason he doesn't bring Nihilego. That plus the existence of what's it fucking called? What is that thing called? Magneton? Yeah, Magneton. And Vaporeon, too. Those are just kind of hard stops to most of the Nihilego sets he can really run. So I just decided to bring this Power Up Punch instead of Swords Dance, because if I Power Up Punch the incoming Excadrill, that puts it in range of Sucker Punch with my spread. So he's going to have to play really weird around that if he tries to switch it in on a straight play rough. It's also good just mid-ground play if I'm in front of Mandibuzz, and he just wants to bring in something like the Dusclops. I can power up punch and guarantee that knockoff will kill that. So yeah, just overall good mon for this game. Right? Wait, no, power up punch doesn't mean a power punch. I'm retarded. If he wants to pivot into the Dusclops, I can power up punch whatever on a mid ground. Force him to like make a 50-50. Like if he goes Excadrill, I power up punch that. It's decide between coming in on a knockoff or a play rough. Or something along those lines. So, just overall, I think this set has a good matchup. He doesn't have a good switch in for the play rough at all because his poison type has just bad Fizz Def, and Excadrill's not really reliable in terms of being a switch in unless it's like a bulky rock set with spin, which I think is probably the best set for this game, or like a lead set with a sash. I don't think offensively Excadrill has a great matchup, especially because he doesn't have sand. So, up next we have the Torn. This is one of the two main win conditions because this just raw outspeeds everything on his team aside from a unburdened Hawlucha, obviously some Scarfers, and an Excadrill after a rapid spin. But if it's Excadrill after a rapid spin and I come in from full, my bulk allows me to live an Adamant Rock Slide, an Adamant Life Orb Rock Slide, and I have a good chance to just kill that with an HP ground. These three moves just have the best coverage. Dark Pulse is there to do reliable damage to Slowking. I just don't want to have to miss against that, plus it's good against the Dusclops, so I don't get like burned or toxic from that thing, so off of a Hurricane miss. I really wanted to run U-turn, but I felt like the reliable damage against the Slowking was just too reliable, or not, well, yeah, too reliable, but too good to pass up. Like if I'm at +2, plus I think, no, Hurricane, Dark Pulse, that's 160. Hurricane does do slightly more damage, but if it's at a point where I don't want to risk a Hurricane, I can just click Dark Pulse and kill it. And then I didn't really need like coverage for Rotom Frost because that doesn't really switch in super well. Like it is a Rotom form, but I highly doubt that it comes to this game because my team just kind of like it's a good win con, but I think if he's gonna bring it, it's gonna be like Scarfed or Boots. And if it's Boots, I just outspeed it, and Hurricane into Dark Pulse, not a good proposition for it. If it's Scarfed, I have ways to deal with that. So. Specifically Mawile and Mamoswine, which we're going to get into next. Scarf this week because Adamant Scarf kind of just demolishes him. I don't expect a Scarf Rillaboom, which would be the main thing I'd be afraid of there. Icicle Crash is just pretty spammable against his team. His only really good switch-ins to it are Excadrill, Rotom Frost, and Lantern, all of which get hit by my coverage. Superpowers there specifically for the Rotom. If it's Scarfed and into Discharge, nothing wants to come in on an Icicle Crash. An Adamant Icicle Crash. Excadrill Excadrill is neutral. But even then, if it's like max HP, I don't think Icicle Crash two-shots that from full. But if it comes in on rocks a couple times, or if it comes in trying to check my Regirock, which I also brought this week, I hit that thing with a body press, and then all of a sudden it's not that great of a check to Mamo anymore. So yeah, high horsepower is there, so I'm not inhibited by the grassy terrain, and I can hit that reliably, click that move against the Charizard, and do shitloads of damage to that if he's not DD'd. Next, we have the aforementioned Regirock, T-Wave, Body Press, Stone Edge Rocks. I mean, this is just a really good answer to a lot of the mons on his team. Arindo Berry's there, obviously, for the Rillaboom. Stone Edge, I was going back and forth between Stone Edge, or no, Body Press, Drain Punch, Explosion, and S-Toss. In the end, I decided to go with Body Press because that's the most reliable way for me to damage an incoming Excadrill. Does good damage to the Rotom Frost without me missing. And Seismic Toss, well, it's consistent if I get like Will-O-Wisp by the Charizard, for example, Scald Burn by the Lantern, Will-O-Wisp by the Dusclops, something along those lines. I decided that Body Press, even though it's affected by Burn, which I feel like, I don't know if everybody knows that, but it is affected by Burn. Even if I'm burned, it's good damage against the Drill, and it just allows Mawile and Torn, as well as me to spam Icicle Crash with Mamoswine, so yeah, rocks are just good for this matchup. He's relatively rock weak, and I don't think Hatterene's going to want to switch in on this. How long has this been going for? I've been talking for 9 minutes. Last mon is physically defensive Tangela. This is to mostly switch in on the Rillaboom, but also checks the Excadrill. The Hawlucha, it can take an Acrobatics. Like it can take a +1 Acrobatics after rocks. I'm pretty sure that's what my defense investment's for. And I can poison that or hit it with a Sludge Bomb. Poison over anything else because I want to be able to status that Mandibuzz with Toxic. So I brought two things that lure in the Mandibuzz, and they can both hit it with Toxic. So let's get right into the game, huh? So my opponent this week brought his Excadrill, Charizard X, Rillaboom, Mandibuzz, Hawlucha, and Slowking. So pretty much the 6 I expected, and I nailed that correctly. I was worried Rotom Frost would show up over like Hawlucha or Rillaboom, but I figured Rillaboom was too good for him to really pass up on, even though I have the Tangela and the Torn. It just kind of, and the Mawile, I guess. It just kind of runs through my team while it's banded, because it takes advantage of my defensive core relatively well outside of the Hawlucha, or the Tangela. Like an idiot, the Hawlucha. So if I can lure that with the Regirock and paralyze that and get in Mawile, nothing really wants to switch into a Play Rough out of these 6, obviously aside from the Excadrill. But if I pup that, or if I burn it at some point, or something along those lines, then I'm in really good shape. I'm going to elect to lead with Mew, because I figure he's probably going to lead with either Excadrill or Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz because it can get a slow U-turn off and against something like my Torn after taking a Hurricane. Or if he wants to lead with Slowking as well, I can poison that, I can poison the Mandibuzz, and I can Scorching Sands the Excadrill, beat it 1v1 and everything. As he is going to elect to lead with his Excadrill, so I get that correct. I'm going to go ahead and just Scorching Sands this as he gets up his rocks, and I'm actually going to score a burn, which is really good for me. I can take pretty much anything this thing wants to go for, so I'm just going to go for another Scorching Sands here, I think. No, I'm going to double into Tangela. Whoops. I'm going to double into Tangela because I thought the Rillaboom was possible, or that he would want to go for an Earthquake or a Shadow Claw to rack up damage, try and force me to Roost, and then get a switch into something like a Rillaboom off of that, or Charizard. So I'm going to go ahead and actually, that was my train of thought there. So I'm going to go ahead and switch in Tangela, trying to sponge the Earthquake, but he's going to go with his Mandibuzz. I don't want to take, well, I'm assuming he's going to U-turn out, because if you have a Tangela in front of a Mandibuzz, either a knockoff or a Toxic is going to come out, and either of those Mawile comes in on pretty well, so he tries to U-turn to take advantage of that. So I see something like that coming, and I'm just going to go ahead and click Toxic. If he did stay in and knock me off, that's fine. I can still switch in reliably safely on Rillaboom Wood Hammers and stuff, and try and Sludge Bomb that and poison it. But he's actually going to go straight into his Rillaboom as I get a poison off on that, and I think that's fantastic. So I'm going to actually just sponge the knockoff. I figure he's not going to U-turn out. He's going to want to try and knock me off, and I can actually get some info about his set here, and I can get some Sludge Bomb damage off, which is going to be pretty key. And here I figure out that he's Banded Adamant, which is kind of the set I expected to see, so I'm going to get a relatively nice switch into Mawile, get my regen back as he pulls a nice double into his Slowking. I figure the risk of him being fucking Colbur Berry and Fire Blast is too high for me to risk my Mawile here, so although I could go for some crisp knockoff damage, I decide in the end to just go into Mew and try and sponge the Fire Blast or Flamethrower, but he's going to teleport there off of an expected switch on my part, which is pretty nice, or he just wanted to sponge the knockoff there. So he's going to go out into the Charizard. And here I pretty much have to go into Regirock. I really, after I poison this, because I'm going to go for the poison because I'm expecting him to DD, because Mew seems like you can't touch this, because Scorching Sands isn't going to do that much, because I have no Spitack investment. So I'm going to go out into his Regirock, as he's going to Flare Blitz me, and he is going to score a burn, which is pretty annoying. But it doesn't matter, because if he Dragon Claws me here, I sponge that, and I can still get out my rocks and try and force him to spin and then sack his Excadrill in front of my Mew. So I'm going to go ahead and set up Rock, because he actually brings in his Slowking, which I thought he'd go Excadrill here, to be honest, but he does go into his Slowking, and he's going to, I think, teleport here, as I have to pretty much switch. No, he's going to Scald me. So go into my Mew, and I'm thankful I don't get burned, because I really want to poison this thing, which I get to before he teleports out. So that's really nice, as he goes into his Excadrill. So this is the situation I was just talking about. I get to, I think this isn't even a roll. I think I can just kill this thing with Scorching Sands here. It's going to cost me the rocks, but I can potentially get those up versus a Hawlucha that's paralyzed, or Charizard again. So I'm going to Scorching Sands, knock out the drill, and that's really, really good for me, that thing's out of the way. It's going to make shit a lot easier. So he's going to go into this. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Tangela, expecting a Wood Hammer or a U-turn. He actually just locks himself into knockoff, so I'm actually going to be able to go to my Mawile, as he's going to read that pretty well and go into his Zard here. So I basically have to switch, but because he's intimidated, this means that Regirock can kind of just come in reliably on this. Regirock. So I'm going to go ahead and just bring that in, because the Flare Blitz isn't going to two-shot me while he's intimidated. And I think I'm going to go for Stone Edge here, because I don't want to, play around with this thing. He could have, Dragon Claw and that wouldn't kill me, and I want to be able to chip it down even further, so it's less of a threat, so I can just potentially win with Mawile. But he's actually going to make a nice play, go out into his Hawlucha, expecting a rock move, and here I make a boo-boo. No, I don't make a boo-boo. I go for Thunder Wave, and he could have potentially been Substitute there, and that would have been a real problem, because I got damage on my Mew and stuff. So, yeah, I'm just thankful he wasn't sub. That could have been bad. But he hadn't even seen my last move. That's why I was considering Explosion. I didn't want to be susceptible to his Substitute Hawlucha for Body Press, but I felt like I really needed to be able to catch that Excadrill coming in. So it was kind of a hard toss-up to make there, so yeah, I decided to go with Body Press, and thankfully he didn't bring Substitute, so that didn't fuck me over too bad. So I'm going to go for Rocks here. Oh no, I'm going to go for Stone Edge. I should have gone for Rocks here, as he is going to kill me off of the CC, so Mawile can live anything from this at +1, so I'm just going to go into that and just knock him out with a Play Rough, as he unfortunately gets Parrot, so he doesn't even get to chip my Mawile, but that's fine because he can reliably kill me. Well, it's not that fine because he would take less recoil from this. He wouldn't be put in range, I don't think, of if he got the damage. No, I think he still would have died to the recoil plus the Toxic, maybe. But he's going to go out in Amanda Buzz as I go into my Torn, and I'm going to try and chip this thing down with Hurricane, but I'm going to miss. I wanted to be able to scout its set, just to see what it could do to me, or to see what its spread was. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Tangela because I expect another Foul Play to come out, and I'm going to go ahead and click Toxic because I figured he would, I don't know what I was expecting there. It was pretty obvious that he was going to U-turn, to be honest. I'm going to go ahead and Giga Drain, try and get out of range of Psychic, because I figured he wouldn't have Flamethrower, because he probably would have gone for it earlier against the Mawile, and it turns out he does go for the Psychic. I'm going to go ahead and Toxic, because he's obviously in range of Giga Drain, and there's no way he's going to go Rillaboom, because that's his only piece of offensive pressure left. It's looking pretty good for Mamoswine at this point, if I can get good damage, or if I can kill the Mandibuzz. It's looking like a potential high horsepower sweep, because the Slowking got really low from the Giga Drain, so I'm going to nail a Toxic on the Mandibuzz coming in, and I felt like that was a really nice play on my part, because obviously he wasn't going to stay in with the Slowking. There was no way the Rillaboom was coming in there, so his Mandibuzz was his really only option, so I decided to go for the Toxic to do, just to nail that, because I kind of need it nailed at this point. I'm going to be out of range of Foul Play. I figured he would go for U-turn there, just to knock me out, but he's going to Foul Play just in case I want to switch and preserve this, which is a solid play on his part. I'm going to go for Giga Drain just to get some residual and get myself out of Foul Play range. I'm going to go back to Torn. I genuinely don't remember why I went back to Torn, because he's just going to go into Slowking here. Dark Pulse isn't going to kill this thing because it's really bulky, and I don't even know if it's Chopple at this point, or Colbur, so I'm just going to sack off the Tangela to the Psychic. Nothing really wants to take that, and I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Mew and just kind of stall the game out from here. I'm going to go ahead and Roost off all the damage. He's going to slack off. It's not really going to help him at this point, because I can just keep chipping him. He's not going to do enough damage to me back with the Scald because I'm so bulky on this set, because defensive Mew is aids. So I'm going to keep spamming Scorching Sands. I want to keep myself at full potentially, or as close to full as possible against the Rillaboom, and then this is where the Fizz Def's going to come in handy. So I'm going to click, obviously, the move it's immune to, because, why not? And the Foul Play is going to do absolutely nothing, and I'm going to go ahead and just spam Roost, basically, as he's going to U-turn, bring in the Rillaboom, and I am out of range of Woodhammer from here. Especially if I Roost and I outspeed him. But I'm just out of range of it. No, he's going to outspeed me because I have no speed. So I'm just completely out of range of Woodhammer at this point, and I'm going to be able to Roost off all of that damage. And he told me after the game that he saw the Calc messed him up because I think he took out his bulk on his Excadrill. Or no, it was his Rillaboom was Jolly, I think. Jolly Band? I don't think Adamant Band could have killed me there. Or it was something with his Excadrill. Either one of these two messed up somewhere. I think it was either the Scorching Sands damage or he messed up the nature on his Rillaboom. But he thought I had Spatak investment on Mew and not as much defense as I did. So, and no Spatak at all. So he thought that he would be able to kill me with a Woodhammer. He said it did, according to his calc, min 101 damage. And that's going to be pretty unfortunate for him. So his Rillaboom's going to go down, and at this point I'm pretty much just going to be able to stall him out with Mew at this point, just pretty much solo. I'm going to go, after the, what's it called? Go back. After the Slowking is going to go down to the Scorching Sands, Psychic damage, all that shit. The Spadef drop and the poison damage is starting to rack up, so I'm going to click Roost there for some reason, and then I'm going to Scorching Sands as he's just going to spam Scald. He wants to speed up the process. I can understand that. So he's going to die to the poison, then he's going to go into Amanda Buzz, and I decide to speed up the process myself too. Go out into Mamoswine. If he foul plays me, he's dead to Icicle Crash. If he roosts, then whatever. I can kill him with 2 Icicle Crashes. But he goes to the Defog, just conceding the game, and I'm going to knock it out and win 3-0. So I brought a fairly just sturdy decor that game, and I spammed a lot of status, gave his Pokemon diseases, and that just kind of really worked out well for me there. I feel like I brought a really sturdy team against his scary offensive-defensive core, and outbalanced him. So up next, I'm going to go over some transactions. So as you saw, my team was a little memey. I kind of regret doing one of these, which is dropping Regirock for Kofag, because now at this point I have 2 offensive rockers and Mew as a stealth rocker, and I don't particularly like that sort of setup, with Mamo and Mew and Mawile as rockers, but I felt like getting a ghost type after dropping Dracolook was kind of important, and I saw that the person who had Drampa dropped it, so I really wanted Drampa. That's the thing I wanted during the draft, was Drampa as my tier 5. But yeah, that got taken, so I went with Spiritomb and then dropped it for Dracolook. I don't know why I did that, by the way. That was kind of stupid. If I kept my original team, but I had Regirock over Persian, maybe? Or I just kept Persian, honestly, and I just had Diancie. I don't know. But this is my team. These are my last 2 transactions. I dropped Regirock for Kofag and Dracolook for Drampa. So yeah, just going into week 5, my team is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to have access to Drampa and Kofag, both of which I'm actually bringing this week, which is pretty funny. So my opponent is, what's his name? Karma, coach of the Pixalated Outrage. Pretty weird team name, to be honest. Just double check, make sure that's right. Okay. Team consists of Hydreigon, Gliscor, Empoleon, Chandelure, Bewear, Stonjourner, Mega Gardevoir, Raikou, Silvally, Serena, and Frostmoth. So relatively scary team, but I feel like that's definitely a manageable matchup. Biggest threats are the Guard and the Hydra. So what's better to bring against those than an Assault Vest Drampa? So this thing, scratch my ear a little bit. I'm afraid of just Raikou too, just in general, because the team I'm bringing is relatively Raikou weak, and I kind of pinned this thing on last, even though it's in the first slot. I moved my team around because I thought putting Drampa first would be funny. I decided to tack this on the end because it's a pretty reliable Raikou check. Even Aura Sphere doesn't 2KO me unless a bunch of hazards are up. If Spikes go up, I don't even think he has a Spiker. He doesn't, no. It says the 2 rockers. So this is a really just good mon. Ice Ghost is a really good typing against this team. The only thing that really wants to come in on that combo is Frostmoth and Empoleon, which Empoleon doesn't really want to take the damage because it can't recover. It doesn't really want to switch in on Drampa like that. I mean, it can, obviously, because if it's defensive, then that's what it's made for, but it's not healing, and then it becomes easier for Torn, Mawile, offensive Mew to just go crazy. So I decided that in the end this is the best set I could bring. I decided to attack on Draco on the end. It was originally Fire Blast to do good damage to the Frostmoth. I don't think Frostmoth's coming, even though it's the only reliable Mamoswine check. I can just hit that with a Rock Slide, Stone Edge, Heavy Slam, whatever, kill that, and then Mamoswine just goes off. So I think Mamoswine's the biggest threat, and I'm gonna go into that next. It's another Scarf Mamo. It's the set, Ground Ice just kind of goes off, because the only good check if I had a contact move would be Bewear. But because Fluffy doesn't work like that, it's going to take a lot more damage to Earthquake, and Icicle Crush doesn't really want to switch in on a Mamoswine. So I feel like if this thing comes in at the right time, it's just going to come and get a kill. And then Bewear or an offensive Gardevoir maybe. But I mean, because I'm Scarf, Gardevoir doesn't really want to come in on me. It's just a reliable revenge killer, could potentially sweep in the late game and be a good early breaker. So I feel like this thing's going to be the most pivotal mon this week. Up next we have the 4 attacks Mawile. This thing goes crazy. The speed I think is for no speed and Empoleon. Yeah, that looks about right, I think. Something like that. Maybe a modest Empoleon with 80 speed or something. No, not 80 speed. It's some weird number. I don't remember what this was for. Actually, I think it was for Adamant Bewear, or an Adamant Serena even. Might be a no-speed Serena. One of those. Anyway, I'm off topic. Well, not really off topic. That's relevant. But anyway, this coverage just demolishes through. It can take on the Gliscor reliably, especially if I intimidate that thing. But Gliscor doesn't really want to come in. Takes a hit from the guard, even a Mystical Fire, which I'm pretty sure it gets now. I'm 90% sure. If not, I can eat a Focus Blast, kill that thing off with like anything if it gets a little bit of chip. And then, just overall, nothing really wants to switch into this. Just in general, really, really strong. Thunder Punch is there for the Empoleon. Ice Punch is there for the Gliscor. Player off pretty much hits everything else. And then Sucker's good priority against everything except the Serena, which doesn't really want to... This is like physically defensive, doesn't want to take a player off, but this doesn't really want to switch into an Ice Punch either, does it? So, next up we have the Kofag. So this thing gets up Trick Room, and then like Drampa and Mawile together, if the team I see is really offensive, go kind of nice. Just in general, nothing really wants to switch in. Once the Empoleon goes down, nothing really wants to switch into Drampa, and nothing wants to switch into Mawile in general. But if the Empoleon or like the Serena go down, for example, it's a lot easier to play around pivots. There's like a lot less stuff to pivot in, and I can get more kills. So I decided that this set worked really well. I have Hex on there because I don't remember. I don't think I have any status on this team. I have Hex on there. Why do I have Hex on there? I had Hex on there because I originally had Wisp, and I guess I forgot to change that to Shadow Ball. But anyway, HP Ice is good for consistent Gliscor damage. I was considering Icy Wind. But yeah, Memento just gets in my stuff after I get up Trick Room, and then if I get like taunted or something, I can reliably hit a few things on the team. So, yeah. Maybe that's there for like Wisps or something. If the Gardevoir wisps my Mew and then gets synchronized, maybe that's, I don't know, it was some fucking 6th dimensional thing, but I should have just ran Shadow Ball. Anyway, I'm next Torn. Hurricane and Power Ground pretty much just hit everything. Like the Flying Resist don't want to take HP Ground. They're Empoleon and I don't even count Stormtrunk because like 20 Spadef, and then Raikou. So HP Ground hits all 3 of those, and yeah, pretty straightforward. It outspeeds like everything. I think this I had the speed there for like max speed Timid because this outspeeds everything except max speed Frostmoth at +1. So I decided to go with that. And yeah. And then finally we have Support Mew, also with Trick Room. Kind of regretted bringing Trick Room on this, but in the end I just decided that having Rocks plus, like I said, Ice Ghost coverage is just pretty good for this matchup. And I really needed Rocks on something, because if the Frostmoth doesn't have Heavy Duty Boots, it becomes a lot less of a threat. So let's get right into the replay. Right here, right now. Let's go here. Am I retarded? There it is. The Karma brought the Beware, Hydreigon, Serena, Empoleon, Gardevoir, Mega, and Gliscor. So, where's the Mamoswine switch in? I don't see one besides Beware, really. And like I said, unless it's like Fizz Def. If it's Fizz Def, it's a lot less of a threat because Mew and Kofag reliably switch on that. So I'm going to lead with Torn because it outspeeds everything except Scarfers, and nothing wants to switch in on a Hurricane. Except for Empoleon, which, like I said, it can't really heal. If it's Scarf Hydreigon, I can be scared of that, I guess. If it's... I don't die to a Draco from Scarf Hydreigon unless it's... I don't even think Modest can kill me. And if it's, like, Head Smash, then Mawile comes in, and... yeah, nothing really wants to switch into Mawile, so... I'm going to lead with Torn, and the opponent's going to lead with Empo. So here, I either want good chip, put it in range of stuff like Thunder Punch from Mawile, potentially Shadow Ball from Mew, from Full, or break a Sash on it, or if it's from Full and if it's got like good Fizz Def investment, it can take an Earthquake from Mamo, or pop a Shuckleberry. So that was the thought process there. Either break a Shuckleberry, break a Sash, or put it in range of Mamo if it was really, really bulky. So I'm going to go for the HP Ground, pop the Shuckleberry, and the Empoleon's going to Toxic me. I think that's a good trade because now I'm assuming either Rocks or an Icy Wind are coming out, and either one of those, Mamoswine just kind of, sits on. So the Rocks are going to go up, and as far as he knows, I'm Life Orb Mamoswine, and if you go Hydra, on the Earthquake or Gliscor on the Earthquake, I can just Ice Shard either one of those. And so the Empoleon's going to be sacked, and that's really, really good for Mawile. I can now spam Play Rough pretty much for free. Unfortunately, that means I'm going to have to deal with the Beware coming in here, so I'm just going to go straight into Kofag. Unfortunately, that's pretty predictable as the Hydreigon comes out, so I did not expect the taunt. I expected just a raw Dark Pulse, fishing for a flinch, because I think Cobra Berry is pretty safe, because I went hard into it on the Beware, and I know Beware gets Throat Chop now, so I feel like that's pretty obvious. Even then, I could probably just take a raw Throat Chop, to be honest, something like that. So I'm going to unfortunately get taunted before I can set up the Trick Room, so I'm going to just go for the HP Ice Chip on this, potentially force it to roost later on and get a free switch into my Mammo, as I'm going to drop to 2 Dark Pulse. I feel like that's worthwhile. You know, it did its job, kind of, I guess. So I'm going to go into this. Nothing wants to switch in on a Hurricane. Guard is like the best thing that can guard against it, and even then it takes 73%, so I'm going to go ahead and U-turn out, because even if he Megas here, it's in range. And the Gliscor is going to come in. So the chip's starting to rack up, but I get a free Mammo switch in, and nothing, again, just nothing comes in on an Icicle Crash here, so I'm just going to go for that. Gliscor is sacked off, and then Beware comes back out. I'm just going to go straight into my Mew. I figure an SD is going to come out, but I really don't want to lose my Mammo for no reason. And I'm going to just Ice Beam this for a little bit of damage, put it in range of a few things on my team. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Mawile. Mawile over something like Torn, because A, I get the Intimidate off. B, I saw from that damage it had to be Adamant, and my speed outspeeds Adamant Beware, because that thing is relatively slow. I think I was definitely speed creeping Adamant Beware there, since I just went into this so reliably. If it was double-edged, it would have been a little bit more ambiguous, but because the return killed, and my Mew is max HP, obviously, I know for a fact that this thing is going to not have a Roselli Berry, because setting up an SD in the face of the Mew pretty much couldn't, like, just staying in the face of the Mew pretty much confirmed to me that this was Pyapa Berry or Sashed, either one of those two, because obviously Psychic from an Expert Belt Mew would kill this, but I didn't have Psychic, so yeah. And then Return pretty much showed me that it was Adamant. So yeah, or it could have been a boosting item. It could have been like, I guess, like Silk Scarf, but even then I can take anything from this. A +2 close combat doesn't kill me, because Mawile's really good. Even with no bulk, it can just take that, because Intimidate is good. So I'm going to knock that out with a Play Rough. The Hydreigon's going to come in. It's a kind of a toss-up of really what I want to do. It's pretty obvious that the Fire Blast is going to come out, but just in case that Scarf Serena in the back, I want to make it so I don't lose to Power Whip or Play Rough spam. If Mamoswine gets low enough and I miss an Icicle Crash, I could potentially lose to Play Rough spam, so I want to, if Mawile dies. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in Drampa. It's pretty not useful at this point, and because I saw Taunt and Dark Pulse, and because this came in on a Mawile, I don't expect the last move to be Draco, even though I think I can take a Life Orb Draco. I might not be able to. I don't think so, based off of that damage. Maybe I thought, I don't know. I don't remember if it was Modest or not, but I assume the last move's going to be Roost. So I'm going to go ahead and Ice Beam, just in case it is like Dragon Pulse in the last slot. I'd be able to take that and knock this thing out. Hindsight, I probably should have gone for the Hyper Voice, but either way, I don't think I would have been able to kill this, and it would still get its Berserk boost. I think even without the Berserk boost, it was a roll to kill me. Might have even been guaranteed. So either way, the Drampa, it didn't really, do anything, but I'm just going to go into Mammo and click Icicle Crash, knock this thing out, and then the Serena's going to come in. And I'm assuming it's Scarfed, but it would pretty much have to be Scarf Adamant, I would think, if you're bringing a Scarf Serena, because that does a lot more damage and shit. And if I'm like Life Orb Mammo, you just outspeed me either way. So because I'm Scarfed and I'm speed creeping an Adamant Serena, I'm actually going to be faster if this thing is Scarf Adamant, which, again, I think he sent me the Pokepaste, I don't remember if it was or not. So the Hydra's going to come in and drop to an Icicle Crash, and Mamoswine's going to pick up 5 kills, and we're going to pick up a 3-0 win. So relatively fun game there. Mamoswine doing what I remember it being able to do. I miss this thing so much. I haven't used it in so long, but I forget how fun this mon is. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate you taking out some of your time. And yeah, we go from a really, really like stally sort of game with my Toxic on my 2 mons, and then me switching between a Mew and a Tangela and a Regirock and have Torn to this game with just balls to the wall, just 19 turns and shit. So hope that shift of pace was nice for you. So yeah, thanks for watching. It's just 34 minutes, shorter than the first video. So yeah, see ya.